Gotta get down for Friday, baby. Even though today is a brand new day, I wanted to dive into some Montreal Canadiens notes from yesterday, because this will inevitably bleed into what we're going to see with the Canadiens tomorrow when, on Saturday, the Habs play what I believe is going to be their final preseason game against the same Ottawa Senators squad that we saw absolutely tear the roof off the house a few nights ago. It is going to be a showdown later tomorrow, but heading into Saturday's showdown, we have ourselves some notes that I do think are quite relevant. Because, as we had spoken about in the video a few days ago, the last Canadiens and Senators game might have been the craziest preseason game we have ever seen. And after all the physical stuff, all the shots and the punches and the fighting majors, we may or may not be in store for a part 2. So let's dive into yesterday's Canadiens notes from practice and just go over some of the commentary made by Habs players that also feed into tomorrow's game. So, of course, things can change by the time Friday morning comes and goes, but yesterday these were the lines for the Montreal Canadiens. Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky, no surprises there. Bolduc, Doc, and Gallagher. So, okay, starting to move guys around a little bit. Newhook was skating with Kapanen and Ivan Demidov, who did make his return, thankfully. And it was kind of funny because the video footage of the practice ended up showcasing Demidov coming out onto the ice, and you can see a lot of Canadiens fans just cheering in the stands. Lots and lots of Habs fans out there on a Thursday morning. Then you had yourselves Joe Veleno with Owen Beck and Patrick Laine on what would inevitably be called the fourth line, quote-unquote. Florian Xhekaj skated with Jake Evans, as well as Josh Anderson and Sammy Blais, who were rotating on that last winger spot. On D, these were the pairings from yesterday's practice: Matheson and Dobson, Gooley Hudson, Xhekaj Carrier, and Engstrom Struble. So a pretty good, diverse set of lines there. I think any one of these guys could potentially be in the starting six for Montreal by the time the regular season comes and goes. It just speaks to the depth that they have at this position at this point. You got Sami Montembeault, Jakub Dobes, and Kaapo Kähkönen all there on the goaltending side of things. Now you can say, Lego, why are you going out there and looking at outdated practice lines? Why not go out there and actually look at something interesting? Okay, well, Habs on Reddit does have us focused up here because Nick Suzuki spoke yesterday about the Habs versus Senators game on Tuesday, the slobber knocker of a game which we had seen. Nick says it was a fun game to watch. It's nice to see the teams stick up for one another. It really showed that we don't take any of that stuff lightly, and we want to take care of each other out there. I like how our group played and how we responded. I mean, of course, how they played was good. They won 5-0 after all, but still, the response, the emotion, just the sticking up for each other, that has to be a very good note as well. It's just you don't want to see guys get hurt. That's the ultimate sentiment, I feel, that most Canadiens fans have in the back of their minds. You don't want to see guys lose time in preseason games. You don't want to see Ivan Demidov get two-handed slashed by Nick Cousins. You don't want to see any of that. So if you do inevitably see some rough stuff, then knowing that the Canadiens can stick up for one another, that is a pretty good thing. Here's a comment from Noah Dobson on potentially playing the last Habs preseason game on Saturday. We'll see what Marty St. Louis wants to do, but physically, I feel good. Obviously, I missed a couple of days there, but I feel great now. So if I get in the game Saturday, I'll be ready to go for a final tune-up before getting the season going. We'll see what happens. Now, of course, Dobson was a part of that triumvirate of injured Canadiens defensemen all at the same time between him, Reinbacher, and Caden Gooley the other day. So if these guys are all capable of coming back and playing properly, that is the best case scenario. Of course, we know Reinbacher is not going to be able to do that. He's going to take a lot more time to recover. You also had yourselves comments from Dobson about joining the Habs. You don't really know what to expect, but I know I was coming into a great situation, a great organization from top to bottom, a great group of guys. You feel like you've been here a while now with how tight-knit the group is. So, Noah Dobson, he's the newest guy in town. He signed a long-term deal. He better feel like it's a pretty good organization. Now let's go out there and read this as well. Arber Xhekaj spoke about playing alongside of his brother Florian. It's awesome. He's a similar player to me, but he's a forward. Just to be out there with him is pretty special. To scrum it up with him is awesome. You thought fighting one Xhekaj was bad? Now you got two. And speaking about the Xhekajs, they did have a very physically imposing presence in Tuesday's game versus the Ottawa Senators. To help us expand a little bit more as to what could be coming soon tomorrow, let's go over onto the Canadian subreddit, because Shogun2909 posted the video of Ivan Demidov on the ice at Centre Videotron from yesterday. And you can see all the Canadiens fans in the stands. They're all cheering whenever they see Demidov go out there and do his thing. The top comment even says, yeah, that's a lot of people for a Thursday morning in Quebec. But I wanted to read this from Aho Kobe. This is a really interesting thread that dives into what we could be seeing tomorrow. Great, Ahoy Kobe says. Now please keep Demidov off the ice on Saturday. Same goes for Caulfield, Suzuki, Laine, Slav, Doc, Hudson. Basically everyone. A reply says, didn't Martin St. Louis say he wouldn't fall into that trap again this year when camp started? He blamed himself for the bad camp last year and the bad start of the season, mentioning that he became emotional and wanted to protect guys after what happened to Laine, but that he wouldn't do this mistake again. Unless I misunderstood. A reply from Jazz Like Football 508 says, apparently the Sens recalled a bunch of minor league players. If they're in the lineup Saturday, it would be a major a-hole move, and I'd dress every tough guy we have. Professional U1415 went out there and said this yesterday as well. Sens fan coming in peace. Here were the lines per Bruce Garriock. Tkachuk, Stutzla, Zetterlund, Ridley, Gregg, Holiday, Lixell, Wash, Karak, Pettersson, McEwen, Kaliev, Unique, Boucher. On D, you had Thompson, Yakimchuk, Donovan, Matanpalo, and then you have Donovan Sabrango and Jordan Spence. Now, I was today years old when I realized that the Ottawa Senators had another guy in their organization named Donovan. Jorian Donovan is the defenseman here, and Donovan Sabrango is the guy who is on that fourth pairing with Jordan Spence. So, all of those minor leaguers, according to Bruce Garriock, are playing. They're likely to see the NHL lineup on Saturday. It's a good thing, in my opinion. Other than Cousins, who shouldn't see the ice, I don't think we'll see guys taking liberties. Stuff him in a locker November 1st, as far as I'm concerned. Thanks for the update. Glad to see we don't want or need injuries to the roster for either side. Glad to see Demidov is fine, too. That's great news, honestly. Thanks for sharing this. I was expecting the opposite. Full lineup tonight in Belleville on Saturday, but that's great. A real hockey game on Saturday. So, it does seem like there are going to be enough guys in the Ottawa Senators lineup tomorrow that will be able to provide an impact. A lot of these players are main guys, but they are dressing a lot of minor leaguers as well. So it's not necessarily going to be a super goon fest like we might have seen on Tuesday, but it is, I'd say, a little bit more appeasing for Canadiens fans to acknowledge that the Sens are not going to go out there headhunting. At least, it doesn't look like it, based off of this lineup. With that in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Montreal Canadiens and what we have seen lately out of a bunch of these guys, from Noah Dobson, Nick Suzuki, and Arber Xhekaj speaking out about the game on Tuesday, as well as what we should be able to see tomorrow when the Sens take on the Canadiens with their lineup. Are you excited? Are you worried? What emotion is taking over your brain the most? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like this video if you enjoyed it at any point. If you did not like it, then hey, feel free to hit the dislike button. Comments help out with the algorithm, so they are very much appreciated. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.